Hey, boys and girls, Doug Giles here. It's Warriors, Rich.
And Wildmen, what's happening, Doug?
Trump assassination attempt. We've got to talk about that. I know a lot of churches are dodging it, and I wonder how many churches even mentioned it this past Sunday. But Rich, I'm a hunter. Been hunting for many, many moons. I'm not a sniper. I'm not Secret Service. I'm not, SEAL Team 6. I'm not Delta Force. But here's something that I am. I'm Rich, I'm an inquiring mind. That's what I am. And I'm sitting there watching this whole thing. Mary Margaret and I saw it live, man. And I'm sitting there after, all the reports come out, you find out where the shooter was, and I'm like, how the hell did this Dungeons and Dragon playing little skinny ass punk get on top of a barn, the apex of a white roof barn, with an AR rifle in clear line of sight of the most powerful, polarizing man on the planet, who happens to be, the 45th president, probably going to be the 47th, at 130 yards. How does that happen, man? I've been to CPAC. I've been around. I remember when Bush came in to speak and I opened up for Mike Huckabee. Dude, there were security layers upon security layers even before you even got to the venue. And this frickin' dipstick, ragweed, 20-year-old, doesn't look like he ever spent 2 seconds out in the sun ever, slithers up a ladder, gets confronted by the cop runs in fear, and then he gets up there to take a shot or 8 shots. I don't know how many shots he made. How does that happen, Rich? How does that occur? Because I don't know. It just seems oh so weird to me, Rich. Help me through the fog of war.
Well, let me say that. Well, I'm in Indonesia, and so when I wake up, my phone has been blown up by everyone telling me, and I'm like, you gotta be kidding me! This is not possible. And I immediately look it up and start looking at it, and I'm like, wait, this can't be real. And with an AR 5.56 or 2.23 from 136 meters, you almost can't miss. If you have
simple,
you could have the cheapest off the shelf AR with open sights, and you almost can't. That's
right.
Such a flat trajectory, such a short range. I mean, you could have any cheap sight. I don't know what brand it was, what aiming system. They probably aren't releasing that because it's the same one that everybody else uses that works with the CIA. And so, I was in Bogota, Colombia at a conference, and the church it's a 120,000 member church, and the pastor there there was an assassination attempt against him. He was shot. I don't remember how many times, 5 times maybe, and he survived. And I went to go get through security, and I was speaking. I was the next speaker. Military guys were everywhere, bro, everywhere. And I was like, man, this is more than usual. They always have a lot of security, And then I remembered, I think the president or the former president of Bogota, of Colombia, was going to be there at that event. And so even though I was the speaker, I was escorted by military guys with rifles to the green room where there was other military people.
Did you see a long-haired skinny punk with blue jeans and a long-sleeve T-shirt dragging around an AR, within that perimeter?
No, because that's not possible, right? So I'm thinking of scenarios and places that I've been and the security that I had to go through, and I don't think it's possible that you could get within hundreds of yards with a rifle of the president or former president of the United States, a candidate to be the next president. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. So that's the stuff that I woke up to.
Or, Rich, it makes a whole lot of sense.
Oh yeah. Well, that's what we're talking about, right?
Yeah. I think they tried to RFK or JFK him, man. And I don't know if it's going to get me a visit, from one of them.
Well, people saw him. and they were yelling at Secret Service for minutes.
Right.
I saw the videos. They're
Yeah. So
pulling
that
the videos down from Facebook. I saw the videos where people are yelling at
right.
Secret Service for minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. The dude with the red beard, he had the red funky hair hat.
Hmm.
He was telling local cops like the guy just drug a rifle on top of the roof. There he is, and he said that the cops just turned into Keystone mode and just started. Oh, that's crazy. I didn't see it. What do we do? What do we do? It's like, man, what they must think that we are the most gullible, stupid SOBs on the planet, that we don't film stuff, that we don't ask questions, that that we don't understand priors, that fall in line with what they tried to pull off on Trump. And where where are the drones? Shouldn't there be drones flying around,
Bro.
Rich? Looking at roofs, or a helicopter. You know, you could see his ass from nearly outer space. Again, white building. He's on the apex. No, and and again, Rich, I'm just a poor painter. I'm just a country preacher of a poor little country church. But if you've got a building in clear line of sight at 130 blankety 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 yards, maybe you put, I don't know, a counter sniper unit up on that obvious uh, perspicacious perch. This is just absolute, can't scrape it off your shoe, unmitigated China white bovine scatology, Rich. And we're told that, well, now you hold your temper, now you quiet down, now you dial down the rhetoric. Oh, okay. So you
Well,
call us
also
Nazis forever, you know?
the sniper that did end up shooting him, I guess had him in his sights for a while, from what I read. And look, we don't
You
know
can
how
see it.
much.
You can
It's
see
hard,
him.
but you could see him, and he didn't start shooting until after the guy shot.
Yeah, so here's what, and again, Rich, I'm an idiot, man. I can, I'm not the sniper, and I'm not the Secret Service, and I've never been a law enforcement officer. But are there rules of engagement? It's like, well, before you can shoot the potential assassin of a former president and someone who's running against, the sitting president, before you can let the air out of his out of his head, he has to shoot first, and then you can shoot. It's kind of like playing ping pong. They serve, and then you serve. That's bullshit, man. If you
Yeah.
see
Well,
a
actually, there are rules of engagement, but it doesn't have to do with them firing first. It has to do with getting permission to fire. And there's some controversy around that, and we'll see what happens with that.
Brother, if I saw like, if, and again, this is why I'm not Secret Service or a sniper. If I saw like a raven pop its head up on a barn, like 200 yards away, oh my God, man, fingers on the trigger, you know. And then if I see, uh, Napoleon Dynamite lift his head up, and then I see that Napoleon also has what appears to be, a black rifle, then, oh man, I'm getting real itchy at that juncture. You know what I'm talking about?
Exactly.
Where does it say that we have to? And again, I don't know. So thrill me in the comments section, people. Where does it say that you can't fire first if somebody looks like he's a credible threat?
Doug, they can fire first, but they have to have permission.
Okay,
That's where the
so
controversy is kind of swirling right now, because from some of the stuff that I've read, like I said, we'll see what comes out, but from some of the stuff that I've read is that he asked for permission and was told to stand down. We'll see
man,
if that's true.
wow,
That might not be true, right? And
wow,
it's hard at this stage. A couple things. One, it's hard because they're never going to freaking tell us the truth. We
new.
still don't know what happened in Las Vegas. Come on, bro. The guy
Yeah,
in
we
Las
still don't
Vegas,
have. We
Las
still
Vegas
don't.
shooter, worked for the CIA. His
We don't know what
girlfriend,
happened. We don't
his
know what happened with
girlfriend,
JFK, man. It's
his girlfriend worked for the CIA, and we
right.
still don't know what happened. So let's just say right off the bat, there's a real good chance we're never going to know what happened here. And so we're trying to get this information. You don't want to be pumping out rumors and stuff, but at the same time, how are we ever going to know? They're never going to tell us because they're all a bunch of freaking liars, right? It's all a bunch of scam. They're all covering their butts. How is it possible? Look, they're either horrifically, um, they either horrifically didn't do their jobs on a scale and magnitude that's unimaginable, and everyone should be fired, or it was intentional. I mean, to me, those are the only options. Those are the only options. Either they were just horrible, horrible, horrible agents at their job, or this was allowed to happen. It's not possible that it could be another scenario.
Hey, speaking about horrible, 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 horrible agents, I don't know if you saw the trio of the Secret Service ladies that once they had Trump off the stage and they were trying to load him into the Beast to whisk him off to the hospital. Did you see those three Secret Service chicks? That one in particular, she didn't know how to draw her weapon, and she's all befuddled and confused. And she finally she finally gets it out. You got to watch the video. She finally gets it out, and then she's looking around like Barney Fife, and then she tries to holster it again, and she's just all back and forwards, by her butt, and then up by her big old gut, and then finally she finally gets it in, and then the other one like dropped their bag, and they can't holster weapons, gear falling to the ground, erratic, fearful movements, no show of force, no composure rich, and that's what diversity, equity, and inclusion gets you. And this, what's the chick's name? Cheadle, who used to be the director of Pepsi, who's now head of Secret Service. She's like, by 2035, Rich and Doug, we're going to have 30% of all Secret Service to be those three bumbling broads that you just saw completely drop the ball trying to get their package out of a deadly arena.
Trash.
Just a joke, man.
Well, if I was Trump, the first thing I would do is start working to hire my own private former military security team, and
Ooh.
I would do whatever it takes to make Secret Service second tier.
Yep.
I would have my own guys. I would get guys that would really protect me and risk their lives for me, and I would make Secret Service second tier. I would never, ever, ever. Look, man, anytime the government says, hey, we're going to do this, don't expect it to be good and don't expect it to be cheap. Expect that you're going to overpay, it's never going to hit a deadline, and it's going to suck. You privatize it, it's always way better. I'll be giving me some BlackRock dudes.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Halliburton.
Yeah, you've got to go private. If they're not going to protect, if they're, beholden to weird aspects of the state, they're not going to listen, and they're going to allow, again, some kid, man, to drag a rifle up a ladder. Have you seen how this is just, I was going to say comical, but it's not freaking funny. But now I remember, Rich, the Prevagen just kicked in what I was going to say. I was watching a dude on Fox News, and Sniper, I think he's Green Beret, I think he's a congressman in Florida now. He said that once Trump went down, which he had the sense to do, like without anybody tackling him, without Secret Service, he just dropped. And he dropped, and those barriers in front of him and the podium are bulletproof. So boom, he drops behind the bulletproof barrier, because he doesn't know which way this thing's coming. He said that then you crawl him out. Now, Trump wanted to stand up, fist pump, fight, but they're
Can't
like,
let him.
you don't let him. It's not his call. And
I thought that.
they said the fact, or he said the fact that they propped him up, and nobody knows if there's a second shooter. Nobody
Right.
knows if Dipstick is lights out because of the counter snipers, and they prop him up. And at one point you can see it's from the waist up, and I know he's got bulletproof vest on, but just clear,
Clear
again,
headshot.
headshot. Yeah, and so then you get the little girl Secret Service who's tiny, and I think that if you get, big dude like Trump, you get some kind of equally tall, fine, strapping lads to guard him. She comes in, God bless her, man, but she comes in, just little tiny chick, head still totally exposed, fist up in the air. Man, he said that is a horrific no-no for Secret
Yeah.
Service, you know?
Well, not only that, I mean, the situation is what it is, trying to make the best they could. One of the guys was reaching over with his fist, like in front of Trump's face, like trying to shield his face if there was another shot. Bro, if that's 5.56 or 308 or a 50 cal from far away, blow the bone fragments from that hand through his brain. I
Yeah.
mean, you have to do something. There's a chance, right? Obviously, you put your fist up there, there's a better chance of just leaving him open. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but like you said, keep him down. Don't, drop that stage on the ground, drive the beast on the stage and crush it,
So
I
why
don't know.
so why are we getting this stuff, Rich? It's like, wow, they're the best of the best. It's like, well,
Well, because they're liars.
that's scary. If that's the best of the best, and somebody, I mean, brother, Trump was in half an inch to three-quarters of an inch, maybe a
Yeah.
full inch of, being lights out in
I think maybe
Pennsylvania.
less. I saw a top photo
Right,
of his head position and the bullet path, and then
right.
the angle, and they showed how when he angled and turned his head a little bit, just that little bit, because even if it didn't hit him in the middle of the head, it would have crossed through the corner of his brain. That would have been a wrap.
Yeah, which this is here in the podcast is where Rich and I turn positive.
Yeah,
That's where God showed up, man. Everybody's
yep.
like,
Trump said that.
yeah, and people are saying, oh man, this is horrible. It's like it could have been worse. We could be in the throes of a civil war right now. We could be
Bro.
in Bedlam, with a
Well,
dead.
what about the losers that are bummed out that they missed? People are saying that, bro.
Do you see that? Well, you didn't see it because you're in Bali right now, but this is funny as hell, man. MSNBC, I'll read this. They did not air Morning Joe, its signature morning politics show, on Monday. Instead, they started airing breaking news about Trump and him going to the Republican National Convention and what happened, over the weekend. Now, the reason that it crap canned, according to Cesar Conde, the chairman of NBC Universal News Group, it's because, they decided to yank the show because the high pitch anti-Trump derangement, crazy cuckoo, 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 everybody's Hitler, Trump's the devil, he's an existential threat, his followers are deplorable trash. They're like, you're not going to be able, this is MSNBC, brother. You're not going to get to say that any longer, Morning Joe and your stupid wife. You're not going to be able to ratchet up that kind of rhetoric and bring on your polluted guest to vomit all over America again. That's a good sign, right?
I think so. I like it. I did see a meme that said, why didn't the Secret Service have someone on that rooftop? And somebody said, well, why would they? The CIA was already there.
Right. It
The
was covered,
CIA
man.
had that one covered.
It was covered, man. Hey,
Yeah,
so
but I think it is a thing where a lot of people, the people that are independent voters, maybe not independent as a party, but they're kind of in the middle kind of type people trying to decide who they want to vote for right now. A lot of people are swaying towards Trump because it's obvious. Look, the lawsuits were trash. Trying to sue him was trash. The arrest and the mugshot was trash. And now you try to shoot him? Come on. And they could say whatever they want, but we've been lied to so much that anybody with an ounce of critical thinking has got to be thinking, and you can see the expression of that all over the news and social media everywhere. People are saying, you know what? People that don't like Trump are now supporting him. They're like, I'm voting for this guy.
Dude, I think he just won all 50 states after that. Because again, uh, black guy on Twitter, I think he's black. I can't see anymore, Rich. Yes, he is black. He is not a translucent, uh, whitey white bread like me. This is hilarious, man. So at the real James Owen, he said 34 felonies, three baby mamas, a
Yeah.
mugshot, and now he's been shot at and survived. Donald Trump is the blackest president we have ever had. And then he said the mixtape, Rich. James says the mixtape is going to be fire.
Well, I do believe that with the court systems and stuff, because Trump actually worked towards prison reform. We had talked about that.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
he worked towards that stuff, and he already has, I think, even before this, more black vote support than any other Republican. And you could say whatever you want, but the people that are disenfranchised now, I'm not talking about black people. I'm just talking about Americans across the board. Talking about middle class and stuff and lower. They see Trump getting railed by a jacked up justice system, and they're like, we can relate to that. They can see these ridiculous, fraudulent trying to sue people, and how they're just, people on January 6th, they were like, oh yeah, January 6th is an insurrection, and now it's like, no, Supreme Court says, no, that's trespassing. And so you have all these people that are saying, hey, this is stupid. Like, stop talking to us like we're stupid. We feel like we've been mistreated and abused.
Yep.
And now we see someone who's trying to stand up for us being mistreated and abused how we feel like we're being treated. So
Bro.
all they're doing is showing that anybody who doesn't toe the line and isn't ready to stand in line to get those checks from corruption, they'll do anything to keep them out of office because they hate us.
So remind me to tell you about the prophecy. Well, let's just get
I
into
love
it
the
right
prophecy. I saw it.
So before we do the prophecy, on X right now, Laura Loomer, she just dropped some breaking news following the attempted assassination of President Trump. Check this out, Rich. Judge Cannon just dismissed the Trump document case, citing unlawful appointment and funding of special counsel Jack Smith. Boom, it's out. You don't
There
get
you
to you don't get to do your lawfare anymore, Jack Spratt Smith. And order granting motion to dismiss superseding indictment based on appointment clause violation. Whew. It's a
Let's
new
go.
day, Rich. So let's go to the prophecy real quick before we wrap. How long? What is
3 months ago.
3 months ago? I was right the first time. This guy, never heard of him before in my life, but ooh, dude, he was dialed in, man. So he's giving prophecy, and we'll put the link. Zeke, if you remind us, put the link.
Yeah, put it on the first comment. Put the link. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's got a lot of prophecy, and to me, that's not my thing, but I believe in the gift. I believe in the legitimacy of the gift. And dude, he threaded the needle. I mean, it wasn't totally accurate, but it's pretty damn close, man. He
I
said
don't know, bro.
that,
When he said the bullet goes so close to his ear that it ruptures his eardrum, like
right.
when if he's seeing something
Yeah.
and he says that, like, look, you can somebody's trying to shoot you, they shoot you in the chest, shoot you in the shoulder, shoot you in the gut, shoot you in the leg. So close to his ear,
Yeah.
bro. Come on.
So for the uninitiated, you'll see it in the comments section, but this guy was spot on, just a minute, I think, where he was talking about Trump in particular. Said somebody's going to try to take him out this summer. Bullet's going to go by the ear, rupture his eardrum. Trump's going to fall, and when he falls, then he's really going to get born again, going to call out to God.
Yes.
Christianity is going to go get jacked. Either it's really going to become a true thing. He said he didn't know whether Trump was a Christian or not, but he said this one is going to bring him to Christ. He's going to win the election. And help me where I'm missing some of this stuff. But dude,
He also said he talked about the lawsuits that were going to happen and the
Right.
suing. and the different
How
stuff.
it's
And he
going to be
said, but that
dropped
stuff
too,
is going
right?
to stop.
Okay, so the attempted assassination of Trump, boom, that guy got it right on. And again, he said this in April, folks.
Yep.
This is some Nostradamus on steroids, Ezekiel level stuff, and and then here, oh, case dismissed, Jack Smith. So that's another one that he got
He said
spot
that was
on.
going to happen.
Right. And so it's I think it's cool. I know that his stock just rose prophetically. So, so
Yeah,
I don't know anybody
absolutely.
else. Think of all the prophets, Rich. Think of all the prophets that are out there. Christian television. I'm prophet. Jack Spratt, whatever. And I see this and I see that. This dude, man,
Dude, he
that's
put it on the line. He wasn't like being vague.
right. Yeah.
That was pretty awesome. It took courage. He either heard from the Lord. He had to hear from the Lord. I mean, it takes courage to hear from God and to say something that specific that you can be held accountable for saying.
Right.
He put his name in the video on the line. He didn't hide from it. He said it, and it's happening. So I'm thinking he heard from the Lord.
Yeah, and again, from a hopeful standpoint, because I know today's show was a little dour. God protected Trump. It could have been
Yep.
horrendous. Uh, Prophetically, as you'll see as you go hit that link in the comment section, this guy foretold that exactly what was going to happen to Trump and what would transpire afterwards, and it's starting to fall like dominoes. So we continue to pray that that prophetic word flourishes and flowers into God's sovereign intent for Mr. Mr. Trump. But folks, your prayers are working. He's like, we got to pray for Trump, pray for his safety. Bam! There you go. I mean, again, Rich, half an inch, three quarters of an inch, different
Scary, man.
different podcast today. So keep laying on the prayers, praying precatory prayers against our deep nefarious foes, and just watch God protect, like we saw on Saturday. Watch Him defend, watch Him promote, and watch God get behind righteousness and punish lawlessness and those who wish to implement it from a policy standpoint, from a nefarious, backdoor, weird, aspect of deep doo-doo crap that we all know that's going on, but, as you
Yeah.
don't see the light of day, let exposure come and pray that it happens.
And I like that, Doug. And you're always positive about that, believing that God's going to come through and that great things are going to happen. And I like that. And one of the things I think is important too is, you can't be a fatalist and just think, well, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. It's God's will. That's actually not true, because the Lord invites us to join Him, and He invites us to prayer. He gives us the privilege of prayer, not just to talk to Him, but to intercede about things that are important. And when we pray His heart, He answers those prayers. And the crazy thing about that is that, yeah, but God could do it without our prayers. Well, yeah, He can, but He has decided that He's not going to. And so, well, then what do we do? Does it matter? Is God sovereign? Well, God's always sovereign, but guess what? He has invited us, not
Right.
just invited, commanded us to pray for those that are rulers and stuff above us in our government, but not just that, people that are standing up for righteousness. And people might not like Trump's personality, but he is standing up for righteous policies and procedures, and man, he's the most extremely conservative policy making and policy forward president that I've ever seen in my lifetime. And I think as Christians, man, we just need the freedom to worship God, to have the freedom to tell people about Jesus, to practice our faith, and to teach our kids what the Bible says. Man, that's what we're asking for. We don't want everybody else to have to do. Everybody doesn't have to do nothing. We think everybody should have the right to hear, but it's all their own choice. But if the country is broke, then your ideologies don't mean much other than Christianity and serving God. I mean, well, I believe in this policy and that. It doesn't matter if the country's broke. We can't help anybody in the whole entire world, not even ourselves. right? And if we have somebody that takes away our free speech, then, you know, I mean, you could say, well, then persecution in the church will get stronger. Absolutely true. But I'm not trying to sign up for persecution. I would like God to show favor on our country. And Trump has shown himself to be a friend of the people in faith. And I think we should all be praying for him to be president and to be led by God and to get our nation back on track. And I believe that.
Bro, we opened up our church service yesterday, like we do every Sunday, with a imprecatory psalm, and we were on Psalm 3, where King David said to shatter the teeth of the wicked. Sweet baby Jesus, slap their cheek, shatter their teeth, and
There you go.
again, it's like, oh, we just have to pray. It's like, pray that God steamrolls the enemy.
Yes.
If it's demonic, and again, it's like we're in a spiritual warfare. It's not against flesh and blood. I get that, but demons operate through people. And if the people
Yep.
become impenitent and implacable and nefarious on such a satanic level that it wants to eviscerate liberty, and like you said, and freedoms that were granted to us by God primarily and our Constitution, then they end up on the bad side of the ledger. And we are called as believers to fire off the Dirty Harry prayer, the malediction, the tomahawk missile that God's sown into the middle of the Bible, 150 Psalms, 109 imprecations, and they're the Psalter. That's what we're supposed to sing. That's what we're supposed to pray. And
Yeah.
it's not a day for now I lay me down to sleep, man. We saw what happened on Saturday, and we've been seeing this garbage build up to this, nadir. And
Yep.
and now it's crystal clear what's going on. And like we talked about in the first part of the podcast, the actors involved, interesting, or it could be interesting, which even
Yeah.
makes things even more sketchier. And like you said, it's like, well, if it's going to be the Lord's will, que sera, sera. Listen, the sovereign God, who providentially knows what is going to occur in the future, has also decreed in his sovereignty, in his foreknowledge, in his predetermined mind, omniscient wisdom, that we implement the means of prayer and
Yes.
declaration to bring about his kingdom come and his will be done on earth as it is in heaven. So that's why, the Christian prays, because it's powerful.
That's right. And you said you wonder how many pastors even brought that up. I'm away in Indonesia, and Pastor Dean Curry, our friend, was preaching at our church in Yuma, and both services he opened up and brought it up right away and started dealing with it right off the bat. And then he got into his message, fantastic message on top of that. But he addressed it because how can you not talk about that? It's something so serious,
Oh my God.
and everybody's wondering.
Right. And Martin Luther said, if you get behind that pulpit and you don't touch on the garbage that your congregation is currently going through, and you preach on something else, he said, you're preaching sin. And so, but I guarantee, so if they said anything, it's probably like, well, isn't that a shame? All right, are y'all ready for God wants you rich and increase with good and have need of nothing? Part 17, let's go, But we're shepherds, man. And
That's right.
that was again, I don't know how people can duck and weave, but they've been ducking and weaving all kinds of serious issues for many, many moons. And God bless
Yeah.
every shepherd. God bless every pastor, small group leader who addresses these things from a biblical standpoint, doesn't duck and weave when they get hit with it. And yeah, God said in Jeremiah 23, he's going to raise up shepherds after his heart and kick the other punks to the curb. So
Yep.
rock and roll. Rich, good to talk to you, big dog. What should the Warrior and Wildmen listener do, my brother?
Good to see you, man. They need to go to warriorsandwildmen.com, subscribe. It's free. We'll send you a couple emails a week, let you know what's happening, keep you posted and up to date. If you're getting something good from the ministry, hit the war chest. Your gift is tax deductible. When you send your gift, we'll send you the information on that. And for those that are doing that, we appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome. Warriors and Wildmen from Indonesia, out.